Yes, I think it depends on the person. So, if you have natural talent, you have natural talent. If you don't need that obsessive mentality, then yeah, it works for you. But for me, that was not the case. I don't really have natural talent, but it's all just work ethic and mentality.
Welcome to the City Voice podcast. I am joined by a very special guest that I've been extremely excited to get onto the show. Welcome to the show, Hosei Kijima. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting into this. We've got lots of things to talk about. The people of St. Louis have been demanding this podcast. They want to hear about your background. They want to hear about your passion for coaching, and we want to get a bit of insight into your first season in MLS. So let's start. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up.
I guess I grew up half in Japan and then half in the United States. But I went to an international school in Tokyo. And then I played soccer at a local club. Nothing too major, but just for fun, I guess, just to have something for after school. And then it became serious when I moved over here to the United States. When I was 12, I went to IMG, and then I was there for about maybe 6-7 years, I want to say. And then, recruited from Wake Forest, and then got drafted. Here I am. So
tell us a little bit about Japan. What's the soccer culture like in Japan, and who got you into the game? Do your family love it?
No, I'm the first soccer player in my family. My parents used to say that I just started kicking things. So we just put him on a soccer field, see what happens type thing. But soccer culture in Japan is big. It's always competing with baseball as the number one sport or the number one popularity in Japan. But high school soccer games, the final gets, I think 60 to 70,000 people at the game.
At the high school?
Yes, high school final.
High school final, because they don't do academy systems in the same way. A lot of players that move out of Japan and come to Europe, they come directly from high school teams now, right?
Some of them, yeah, but sometimes, usually, so high school football is more prominent than I want to say maybe U18s, U20s, academy teams. So usually that's the way to go, but it's possible to where you can get recruited from, I guess, J League. Youth systems, academy systems.
And I know already that you watch a lot of football from all around the world, but did you have a Japanese team that you followed growing up that you would attend, or were you more you'd watch the European games?
Growing up, Yokohama F Marinos was my hometown team. So I would go to games here and there, but I wasn't a diehard supporter or anything. I was always busy with either playing soccer or going to school. So,
did you have any player idols growing up?
Yes, a bunch. The whole Barcelona team when Pep was there. Including the bench players too. So I would always watch them play on TV. They would always come up on the news, playing Champions League football. I was inspired by them.
And position did you play when you were learning the game? Because you seem to be quite a flexible player just for St. Louis, but did you start in defense? Did you start in attack? Or what does the Japanese system do to you?
In Japan, this was when I was really young, but I was either a 9 or a 10. I played more 10, I guess. But again, it's youth, so there's not really a system. But I was the guy to create and score goals, like many other players now. So.
And then when you came to the States, where did they put you?
I started as a right back, and then depending on the coach, they had me at the 10. They had me at left, right wing. They had me at, one of my coaches had me at center back for a season. You name it.
And you said that you came over here to the States and you went to IMG. John Hackworth was at IMG. John Hackworth knows every single player that steps foot into this country. Did you have any dealings with John Hackworth at any point in the last 8 years?
Unfortunately, no.
No?
I not now knowing him, I wish I had. but I wasn't even with the what they called back then the development academy teams there because I was international. I had played DA my first year at IMG, but then they found out I had missing documents or something like that, and that was the I guess that was the justification that I couldn't play there anymore. So I got kicked off the team, the DA team, and then I had to move to the what we called the elite team, where all the international players were able to play in the league. So yeah, never with Hack.
That's the first. That's a rarity on this show.
Yes.
So when did at what point in your career did you realize I am quite good at soccer? This could be a career for me. Like, did you always have your eye on the prize of being a pro?
So yes and no. Wanting to be a pro is one thing. Knowing you can be a pro is another. So I've always wanted to be a pro, but I never actually knew I could until like I got drafted. So
that late?
Yeah. No chance. I wasn't a special player. I wasn't highly recruited. Wake Forest was the only school that wanted me. No Division II, Division III schools had offered me at all. But yeah, it was only a few months ago that I realized. I mean, maybe even now, I still don't know if I can play at this level. But it's just a constant pursuit of greatness, I guess you can say.
Did you have people around you that would sort of build your confidence that you could? Were there any people, like particularly when you moved to America, that sort of have faith in you the whole time, that really sort of drove your career today?
Yes, for sure. I mean, everybody but me, you can say. All coaches, players, staff, anybody I interacted with thought I could go pro in the future. But I think it was also a way for me to say, I'm not good enough, so keep going. So yeah, it just propelled me forward. Still to this day, it's still propelling me forward.
And what was Wake Forest like? Like, what was that experience like because Celio went through a sort of similar experience to you in his way to City. What was it like playing there? How quickly did you adapt?
Didn't adapt quickly at all. It was definitely a new experience. IMG allowed me to almost grow on my own by myself. Wake Forest didn't, because they understood the values of football being a team sport. And so I had a lot of communication issues. I had a lot of, especially roommate issues going in my first year. So a lot of ups and downs there. I had started the first game. I remember this very vividly against Louisville in ACC play my first year as a freshman. And I played about maybe 20 minutes. And then our coach subbed me out. And I didn't start again that season. So yeah, certain things like that, just small things, but definitely worth working for. And, it just kept me going, and I just kept going, no questions asked.
And what was the pivot point where it started going right for you? Was there like something that clicked in your head? Or was there something where they realized the talent? Like how did that happen for you? Because being subbed off after 20s, that's a bit of a blow to the confidence.
For sure. But, I didn't really let it get to my head at all, but it was probably one of my biggest motivators. Not only that season, but to, not lose my starting spot again. I take a lot of inspiration from Kobe Bryant. I've studied him a lot the past few years, and I do a lot of things he does.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do you want to give us some other examples?
1 a.m. training.
1 a.m. training.
1 a.m. training.
That is crazy.
I would train sometimes from like 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. just because I wanted to. Just there's certain things that like just not made me angry, but just like extremely motivated me. I mean, that's all I cared about was football. So yeah.
Do you believe in like some people say that there's such thing as natural talent, but I always find when I talk to people that could be perceived as having natural talent. You talk to them and it's not natural talent, it's obsession. Like, do you believe the obsession over talent mentality? Because it sounds like you're pretty obsessed with getting to the top.
Yes, I think it depends on the person. So, if you have natural talent, you have natural talent. If you don't need that obsessive mentality, then yeah, it works for you. But for me, that was not the case. I don't really have natural talent, but it's all just work ethic and mentality.
So I was going to ask you, let's see if you could frame this. I know that a lot of coaches of young people listen to this podcast and they make their players listen to the podcast. Do you have like one bit of advice that you would give to any young player trying to make it in the game?
I don't want to pinpoint it to one, but I think the one thing I could say is follow your heart. As cliche as it may sound, it's definitely has been true for me. Every decision I've made, yes, I've thought about probability, or my mom loves being spiritual, so spirituality, luck, unlucky things, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I think it was my heart that led me to each destination. And and don't ever quit. I think if you quit, you'll have regret the rest of your life, I think. But I think those are the two things I can, as simple as I can get it, is don't quit and follow your heart.
Great bits of advice. Before we get into what's happened at St. Louis City, I did want to talk about your passion for coaching. I have an office that overlooks that pitch that's sitting behind you. If you can't see it on the cameras, there's a City 2 pitch. And I was like, is that Hosei out there? And it is. Like, you show up to training, and I printed this off, implementing provocative football, calcio provocatorio in futsal 5v5. It is a paper, and it is an immense piece of reading. Like, I was reading through it, like you're talking about De Zerbi's provocative football. Like, this is a serious piece of work. I've seen the fans have all uncovered your Twitter account. Like, you're really interested in like the tactical side of it. Do you feel like being a student of the game is as important as like what you do on the training pitch, or it's all part of one thing? Because not many players are as into detail like this as you are. I've never seen a player share basically a white paper like that. Is that part of your study? Is that part of your work routine, that you're always looking at what's going on in and around the world and how we should be a better player?
Yeah, it's just love for the game. It has a little bit to do to become a better player, but it's just, I don't do this because I'm obligated to, or I feel like I need to write a paper type thing. I do it because I love to do it. This paper in particular was just I put down their creative journal, the journaling, the creative process. And it was just to see how I can write it down to where I can look through a couple of years later and see what kind of methodologies did I apply? What did I do with the players in terms of sparking their creativity? Whatever it may be, just to look through it. It wasn't for me to post it at all or send to people, but people wanted to read it, and I'll gladly post any of my work. I don't hide it, or gatekeep, I guess is the word. But yeah, it was for me. It wasn't meant to be for to go viral or anything like that. So,
well, it was good, and we'll make sure that people can see this. We'll put the link in the bio. Do you see coaching as something that you would like to do in the long term? Will you take your coaching badges, or are you trying to take your coaching badges?
So I've been trying to, but I have to have access to a team.
Yeah, which
I don't have at the moment. So I've done like what I can. So there's an online 11v11 module on US Soccer online on the website. So that's probably the only badge I have right now, other than my scouting one for the England FA. So.
And outside Hackworth, who's the Who do you think is the most exciting manager in world football at the moment?
That's a great question because there's a lot of managers that I like.
Go through. Give us a list. I mean, you got a number of them in here, which is great.
Yes, De Zerbi is definitely one of them. Now with Marseille, Olympique Marseille, I watched their preseason game. I can't remember who it was against, but it was a preseason game, and yeah, it was similar to what how Brighton played last year when I wrote in the paper. Fabian Hersler, who just took over Brighton as well. That is really interesting to me, not only because I'm a Brighton supporter, but Marcel Hartel played for him last season. So I asked him a lot of questions about him, like what he's like, what kind of a coach is he, what kind of tactics he implement, so things like that. Another one is Fernando Diniz, who unfortunately got sacked by Fluminense a couple maybe weeks ago, but he brought in the idea of relationism to the world where, each player doesn't have their own zone of play, in contrast to, a positionist system like Guardiola or De Zerbi. So, I think those are the three managers.
So your thread is that you like the sort of non-conforming managers.
Yes, I love non-conformist ideals. I love just unorthodox and just never seen before, because it's just fun. I don't want to do the same thing that every other coach is. If I ever coach, I'm not doing the same thing as every other coach does. I try to implement those unorthodox ideas.
And do you take some of these ideas that you read about into your own game, or
Yes.
try and implement them with players on the pitch?
Yeah, for sure. So De Zerbi's playing style, me and Marcel actually did it in training today and like last week, to where we're telling our center backs to just hold the ball and bait the press. And as soon as our ball carrier gets pressed, then that's when we come check in, and then we find the third man. So
and talk to us about that principle of, like, if you've watched Brighton, we might be going a little bit deep here, but if you watch Brighton, the centre backs will put their foot on the sole on the top of the ball. Like, we see that, and you're like, just a little bit of flair. But your paper says that there's something deeper to that.
Yes. So having your foot on the ball, De Zerbi talks about it as this in his webinar, but it gives you total control of the ball. So it's not rolling around. You know where exactly it is, and you can use your right or left foot whenever you need to pass the ball, dribble the ball, whatever it may be. So you have total control of the ball. The second thing is, from the defender's perspective, it's such an enticing move, because having your foot on the ball is provocative. That's the whole point of enticing the press, baiting the press, provoking the press. And as soon as you do that, it seems like it's a pressing cue. So I think, younger teams, their coaches would tell them, like, so no square passes, don't put your foot on the ball, don't stop the ball, don't stop the ball dead, is what I always hear. And that's exactly what De Zerbi does, is stop the ball dead, use square passes to bait the press. And so it just completely contradicts what we get taught as kids. But yeah, that's the idea behind the sole of the foot.
Very cool. And let's talk about you as a player. It's difficult to keep track of all the different positions that you pop up in. Like, you're asked to do lots of different things, even early on. Could you describe to the fans how you see yourself and where your favored position is? And obviously, this is supposed to be a slight of wherever you're playing, but I don't think anybody knows.
I don't know either.
Yeah?
I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I tell every coach, like, put me wherever you need to, however I fit in their framework, and I'll just do my best to perform. And that's it. I mean, it's simple, but I guess effective, if not effective, I don't know, but I don't know what position I'm the best at.
Do you think that there has been an evolution of this idea of a utility player, maybe 6-7 years ago, was almost a bit of an insult, but some of the best clubs in the world now have players, and they actively seek out players that are like super utility players that they can pop up in a different position and play to a really high standard. Like, I'm thinking of like a Kai Havertz, At Arsenal, he can play as a 9. He can play as a second striker. He can play on the right. He can play as played as a fullback for Germany and scored a goal in like the Euro qualifiers earlier on in the season. Do you think that like a non-conformist view is the like having utility players gives you more unpredictability in the starting lineup? Are you starting to see that in the game?
For sure. But not to derail or anything, but this idea of relationism is all about versatile players. So players moving from right back to like left wing, or a center midfielder becoming a 9, or a center back becoming a center midfielder. This, I think, playing style is going to become more popular as time goes, and versatility is key, because if you're not versatile, you can't play on one of these teams. It is relationist teams. So, definitely evolving. I think for me personally as well, it's very important to learn all the positions, just simply because it's good for my coaching career in the future. But I like to be versatile. I like to give my coach options. If it's injury or you want a different look, or whatever reason may be, I want to try to be that player to give him options.
And the study of those varying positions, does that happen by, it sounds like you watch a little football. If you're like citing a Brazilian manager of Fluminense, then you're watching a lot of game. But when you're playing for a professional team and you've got people that have played all over the world in those positions and specialize in them, do you try and sponge information off like your teammates about how they do things?
Of course. It's not only just watching them, but to have the opportunity to talk to them as well, to pick their brain and almost dissect their thinking process, I think is important. So, for example, Eddie Leuven, I always ask him questions about, where do you check your shoulder when before you receive the ball, or what were you thinking with that ball when I made that run, or whatever it may be. Just small details like that help to just absorb all that information and almost put it in a folder in my head, to where it's just, left-sided 8, mid-sala or something like that. So taking different players, not only experiences, but, real-time play and picking their brain, I think helps a lot in my process of learning different positions.
Okay, so let's talk about the Super Draft. It's an exciting day. It's an exciting day for us. I don't know whether when you're on the other side of it. Yeah. You said earlier that you didn't know that you could make it until you got a professional club. What goes through your head on that day? Are agents calling you? Is anybody sending you like side text messages to say, "Don't worry, we're coming for you"? Or is it literally wait by the phone and pray?
Wait by the phone and pray. For me, it was, at least. Yeah. I was in Japan, so the time difference was drastic. I had to get up at 1 a.m. to prep for the whole Super Draft, and then I think it started at like 3 a.m. my time. But I think I only got picked at like 6 a.m. Japan time, so I was just waiting there, thinking like.
Were you on your own, or were your family there?
Oh, my family was there too.
Your family was there as well?
Yes. So my family was there too, but in my head, I was like, is my career going to end here? And, I was like, I kind of like that thrill of it. But I was just wondering, it's like, am I never going to play football in a highly competitive environment again? And the call came from Mr. Hackworth, and I was ecstatic. So.
And what was his conversation? Does he sell you on the vision? Does he or is it just like pack your bags?
Pack your bags and get over here. That's basically what he said. Obviously he said congratulations first, but pack your bags and get ready. So.
And did you know anything about St. Louis before? Was it a club that you had any you done a bit of research on?
Yes. They had interviewed me during the MLS Combine, so I had a little bit of the tactics side of it, but not a lot about the city, not a lot about club vision, certain things like that.
So did you go to sleep straight away or did you get online and start doing a bit of research about like the city and sort of get immersed in the details?
No, not City, no. But I went on Y Scout and I looked at all the players. Probably watched like the last maybe 10 games of the season from last year, just to try to get a gist of what the playing style is going to look like, with like where I fit. Where am I going to play? How am I going to play? Just mental preparation.
So you fly into St. Louis, first day of training. How exciting is that?
Very exciting. The first day of training here was actually a game against, I believe, our UPSL team, with the city too, because I had to do medicals before I went to preseason. I think they were in Florida, I think, at the time. But yeah, I got to play some football in very cold weather. So
yeah, and that's definitely a culture shock. The cold weather this year was particularly brutal.
Yes.
When did you train with the first team for the first time? And do you have like a sort of memory sticker moment that you're like, I'm a professional player playing for an MLS
Yeah,
team?
it was in Florida. My first session. So I had researched about all these players and I see them now. And I guess the most thankful thing was that I got to play with Edu in like the first drill. I think it was like a 2v2 to like mini goals. And I had seen him as like an insane player, because like watching video last year is like crazy. But yeah, I was shocked that he was standing in front of me and he was passing the ball to me. So I think that was the point when I was like, yeah, I'm here type thing. So
did you put in a good performance?
I was okay. I was okay. I always could do better.
And how long does it take you to feel like you're at the level you can compete, you're part of the crew, and you've got a chance of being in the first team?
That is a great question, because I think it always fluctuates. I'm almost like a perfectionist, so if I lose the ball in training or something, I immediately think like, oh, like I shouldn't be here. I'm not a first team player. But I think as I started training with them and just getting to know everybody and just connecting with everybody, I think that was when I felt like I belonged here.
And let's sort of fast forward a little bit. Your first game, talk us through it.
That game was crazy. 1-1. Bradley comes up to me. He goes, "You're going in." And I'm like, I'm really about to make my debut. And obviously grateful to Bradley for giving me that chance. But going in, I was playing with City. And it's the exact team that I had watched, like every day for like 8 hours during my winter break. So yeah, just really happy that I was there. Just to add to that, the goal. So
sorry,
the goal happened. I mean, that was
you remember
more.
It?
Yeah, I remember it, but that wasn't even the best part of it. The best part of it was just playing with the team. And I guess Cilio crossed it. We Bradley had always talked to me about counter pressing, and I love the idea of counter pressing too. So I was just like, okay, counter press. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, boom, just go for the ball. And then as soon as I got a little space, and I just shot it, and then it went in. So
a pretty glorious way to start.
Yeah, glorious for sure.
So, did you expect that you were going to get so many minutes, like heading out of there? I mean, you've racked up quite a substantial amount so far this season. Was that a shock to you, and have you been enjoying it? I mean, obviously you've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, but it's also, I mean, that's the last thing I thought like I would think that's going to happen, because before the draft, everybody around me was telling me, probably going to sign a second team contract, and because you're international and you're not special. That's what everybody told me, and I'm like, okay,
you're not special.
No, I mean, I don't.
Guys?
No, I don't think I'm special either. But yeah, very just grateful to the club and what they've done for me because yeah, at first I didn't even think I was going to be with the first team. So that was probably the biggest thing was getting a first team contract. And then, yeah, just Bradley and Hack both playing me, just, believing in me that, that I can start and I can play well. So, yeah, didn't expect it at all, but yeah, just thankful.
What do you feel the most improved aspect of your game has been so far this season? Was there like one thing you were working on, the Bradley and Hack, like had you focused on? Like how do you feel you developed?
I definitely think the defensive side of it. I didn't think that a team could press like us and press so well and disrupt the opponent that much. So yeah, in that sense, learned a lot there. But I also think I started as a 10 most of the games I've played, but playing the 10 has been a joy because I've always wanted to play there. And at Wake Forest, I wasn't really a 10, so I didn't fit in there, but in terms of positions. But yeah, here I learned a lot about playing 10 and, ups and downs, but I guess I just continue to learn more and more about it.
And has there been like a difference in expectations from Bradley to Hackworth? Like is there a different vision for who you're going to be in the back half of the season?
Yes, definitely. Just not even from the coaching staff. It's more just bringing in new players. So, yeah, I'm just here to give them a hard time to choose the starting lineup. And if I don't start, then I don't start. It's not a problem. I'm just there to give a good impact when I go in, and yeah, just help compete and disrupt our first team.
Has it been good to have the sort of infusion of experienced players like Marcel and Cedric? Do you feel like you're learning a lot?
A lot. Cedric, I don't talk to that much, but just from his playing style and the way he handles the ball, the way he plays, the way he finds space, he reminds me a little bit of Thomas Muller, like of that Ramdeuter role, just the space investigator, I guess is what you call it. But yeah, it reminds me of him a lot. But yeah, learning a lot from him. I ask him questions here and there, but yeah, mostly from just watching and observing.
Great. And it's been difficult. The season hasn't been, it's very good from your perspective, like career development, but there's been some ups and downs. Like, how has it been sort of navigating the emotional roller coaster that's happened so far?
Difficult, but I've always stuck to being emotionally steady. I actually got that from Kobe Bryant, to where you're not too high and when you win, and not too low when you lose. So it's all about, being in like a steady motion to where you're not really shocked about what's happened, what happens, whether if it's during the game or what happens with, one of our players or coaching staff or outside, whatever it may be. Just it's been a very good learning experience for me, just staying emotionally steady.
I know the debut is hard to top for a key moment this season, but are there any other like standout favorite moments, either in the stadium, away, or like just non-footballing moments where you're like, that'll live with me forever?
That's a great question. Non-footballing moments?
Could be a non-footballing moment, yeah.
I don't have non-footballing moments.
No,
it's not all about football.
No one recognized you in the ice cream shop, or do people come up and speak to you?
Yes,
when you're out?
Yes. But I'm trying to think. I don't know. So many has happened. I don't have one at the top of my head. But
have you taken any time to sort of sit back and say, this is pretty cool. I've like to get here and to get the minutes. Like, do you ever take a moment to ingest what's been going on, or is it just going so fast?
Just going. I also don't want to do that, especially during the season. I'm laser focused to the games that are coming up in the training session tomorrow. And yeah, it's going so fast. I actually try not to just sit back because, it's not over yet. And maybe after the season I'll think about it, but right now it's not the time.
And what's there was a great win at the weekend. Leagues Cup is a very short tournament that runs over the next month. What's the vibes in the dressing room about getting on a bit of a run?
We can do it.
Yeah?
Yes, we can do it. It's just all about belief and conviction because we have the tools to do it. It's how we're going to use those tools, right? It's simple as that, honestly.
And then what do you think? What's the team thinking about for the back end of the season with an MLS run? Like, how are you guys talking about that now, or is it like all focused on Leagues Cup?
That's a great question. We're definitely thinking about both, but as I say, for me personally, it's just as the games come, just don't ever look ahead of each game, but performing every day during training and during games is as they come is what I think I value the most there. So yeah, we can definitely do it. We can win everything from now here on out. It's definitely possible because the opportunity is there. It's just, again, how we use the tools and how much we believe.
Some players will tell me personal goals. Klaus wouldn't. I wondered if you had any personal goals from now until the end of the season. And if that's too secret, like what would success look for you come November, December?
For me personally, success is if I evolved as a player. For me personally, it's very important for me to have a steady progression as a player, but also as a person as well in terms of leadership and mentality or whatever it may be. But yeah, I don't think I have gotten good enough this past few months. And I think I need to do a better job of putting more work in and just grit, getting better and almost solely focusing on that. And grit, I think, is the word that I always think about when it comes to that. Just train and improve and evolve.
Great. People at St. Louis are going to like to hear that. So little tradition that we have at the end of the show, we throw the mic over to you. St. Louis fans have really taken to you in the stadiums. People ask me about you when they're out and about. What's he like? It'd be great if you could give them a message to sort of see out the show.
Do I need to look at the camera or anything? Or?
You don't need to look at the camera. You can though if you want.
No, that's okay. No, yeah. I mean, I know I always say this is for me, fans are the most important because the club doesn't exist without fans. And to support a club, in that caliber is I probably won't even do. So, looking from the outside, obviously, but just grateful for the support that they've consistently given us and just the care that they give to the club and the city is phenomenal. So, thank you so much for that. And again, I don't take those things for granted. That's why I try to come out and sign as many autographs as I can after games, during training, if there are any fans. But, if I'm out and about, just talk to me. And, if you want a picture, I'll get you a picture. I want to get to know you, as fans. So just connect with them on a personal level. So just thank you.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast. That was, I enjoyed that. And I hope that if I enjoyed that, the fans are definitely going to enjoy that, because that was a real journey that we went through. If you are listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you give us a 5-star review, specifically cite Hosei, so we'll come back on again at a later date. And on that note, we'll say thank you, Hosei. That was fantastic. Ciao for now.
Thank you.